What's your thoughts on government cover-ups or covert societies attempting to control humanity? Do you believe in ancient astronauts, intergalactic communication, or extraterrestrial visitations? Ever had an experience with disembodied spirits or the paranormal universe? Are these subjects fact or fiction? Each week, Tony and Eddie explore these unbelievable realities and beyond. Exclusively on Truth Be Told.
Hello and welcome to Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie, where we believe an experience becomes truth. I'm your host, Tony Sweet, and while Eddie Connor is on his tour in Peru, I have joining me in studio producer, filmmaker, and radio personality Dean Ryan is here for the next 2 hours. For some time now in America, homelessness has become an epidemic, and as we can see, national, state, and local government are not doing much about the problem we are facing. But one man here in Los Angeles has stepped up to be a voice for those that don't have one. Elvis Summers is fighting a system that only acknowledges the problem of homelessness, but it drags its feet or it does very little to those in need. 3 things that humans are entitled to. That is food, shelter, and clothing. Elvis is trying to raise money through his organization, Starting Human, My Tiny Houses for the Homeless, and Humanity Aid in Los Angeles. Their mission is to simply give people in this world a safe place to sleep. Why is that so hard to imagine in 2016? Let's talk with Elvis on his journey and why the powers that be are his biggest roadblocks. So please welcome activist Elvis Summers and guest host of the day, Dean Ryan, to Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie. You know, we love applause around here. Oh, thank you, Dean. Dean, first I want to say thank you for doing this. I know Eddie's out of town, and that wasn't really last minute, but it's an honor to have you here. I've always loved to work with you, and you brought this wonderful guest to the table.
A.M. and I picked up. I picked up and I delivered as usual.
As usual.
No, it's an honor to be here. As you know, I think this is, Truth Be Told, one of the best shows on air today.
Oh,
thank you. So I'm honored to be here, but I'm also honored to bring a very unusual person, and I say unusual because the media has painted him out to be unusual, but
don't they always?
Yeah, you know, but someone we should all strive to be, and it's a dear friend of mine. His name is Elvis Summers, who's here with us today, and Elvis is doing this incredible thing about putting the power back into the individual to make real change. And if you don't know his story, you could just type his name up, and you're going to hear this, just a plethora of stories. But he's building tiny houses for the homeless across L.A., and it's been, just making news headlines not only locally and nationally, but internationally. And
making waves,
making news. And I don't know, I got to give Elvis the floor. I mean, he's better at talking about himself better than I am, probably.
I don't know about that, but
ask your mother, right?
Yeah, but thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And I want to ask you because so many of us, we see what happens, and I think it's very easy to watch from afar and not be involved. What was that moment where you said, I have to do something about this epidemic? And I call it an epidemic because it is.
It really is, yeah. It's
and it's almost beyond whatever's beyond epidemic.
Yeah, it's well, it's really just horseshit. But pretty much when I met, a little bit after I met a woman named Smokey, living in my neighborhood. I built the first house for her, and as I, was building her house and putting a video together to put out there, like lots of homeless started seeking me out, asking me for help too. And once I got more involved and it just kind of blew up and people started donating money, I was like, man, I could do this all day long, and help people. But I figured at best, if I was lucky, I'd get enough donations to, maybe build a half dozen tiny houses and call it a day.
Right.
No idea I'd be here.
Well, I mean, Smokey, she was homeless, you say.
Mm-hmm.
How did you meet her? Was it just somebody that you met, walking down the street one day and said, because sometimes we strike up conversations with somebody that's homeless, and
Yeah,
they're very fascinating people.
She'd come by every few days asking for my recyclables. You know, it's like one of the main money makers for homeless. You know, so but I like to get to know people, so I just sit and BS with her, talk to her, and then like one day I was just kind of like, I know you live down the street, but where?
Right.
Exactly where? And she walked me down there and showed me. It was just a little patch of dirt and a busted chair.
Wow.
Not even a tarp or a tent or cardboard box.
Yeah.
And it just pissed me off. The world sucks, like in many ways.
Right.
And but it's just progressively getting worse and fast.
If you think about it, I remember I'm from Kansas in a small town, so I didn't really see a lot of homeless there because it was very small.
Mm-hmm.
But I see more and more homeless people now than I ever have since I've been here in L.A. for 14 years. I used to see one or two around the area where I was from, but now it's 20, 30 people just in that area, and I never seen that before.
Yeah, and as we flash forward, like it's gonna get worse.
Right.
I mean, the city's not doing jack. There.
Right.
I mean, and everybody's stuck on this. Stereotype. That everyone's a drug addict and chose
Right.
to be there and all this other stuff. I mean, there's tens of thousands of children and single parents and veterans and middle class people that are homeless.
Well, not only that, it should be mentioned too. A lot of people, just from doing the research, they're victims of the Justice Department, the justice system.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
And I say that is, if you're 18, you're 19, you're young, you get a felony,
Right.
you're screwed for the rest of your life.
True.
And a lot of these
True, I
people are
get
coming
that.
from low-income areas, and a lot of minorities. So they have this felony on their record, urinating in public, for instance, or a traffic ticket, they can't pay it, turns into a felony. Well, they can't get a job, and they're prevented from getting a job. They're looked down on society. So my research is saying it's not just schizophrenics. It's not just people with drug addictions or people that just love to drink. There's some serious victims of this corrupt justice system. And, that's also the makeup of the homelessness going on in L.A. And also to point out, homelessness has risen, I believe, well over 5% since 2013. That new statistic has gone out.
Yeah, it was up 12%
I was
last
gonna say,
year,
I'm
and then
surprised it's
this
only
year's
5.
just came out, and it's up 11%. 5% of that is the veterans.
Right. Yeah.
Just
rising.
despite all the wonderful stuff that the mayor hasn't done.
Or the economy has been saved by Obama, and jobs are being
Yeah.
where, and
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions, and like, especially, people think that, almost all of them have mental issues,
Right.
Or
Drug
drug addicts and all this stuff. And honestly, regardless if someone is a drug addict or not, I mean, 99% of them, you pull them aside and ask them if they would like to not be a drug addict
Right.
and have their life back, they'll tell you yes. Give me the chance. It's like,
Right.
get away from here, you bum. Why don't you get a job? Why don't you give me a job?
I have to say, the other day because I do Truth Be Told, but I also have an entertainment show, and I interviewed an actor. His name is J. Lewis Mills. He was homeless. He was homeless for a few years, and he also was trying to get into acting, which I give him kudos for even just striving to take classes, even though he didn't have a home to go to. But he ended up getting a job on Heartbeat as one of the lead actors. So now, he's an advocate for homelessness. So, opportunities there, but it's so rare. It's so rare to see somebody get off the street. It really is.
The opportunities aren't there.
No,
and
they're not.
People are so, the media is so controlled, and everyone's just fed piles of crap that
Right.
Fluff.
Right.
The city constantly gives their little speeches of, well, in my district we've issued 200 and blah blah blah, referrals to services and help and this and that, blah blah
200.
blah. Yeah, whatever it is, like they constantly come out with some number, and they hand out all these Section 8 vouchers for housing, but like the part that they after the sentence when they stop is that nobody's accepting Section 8 vouchers or the VASH. The tiny bit of places that do exist, they got people in them. And when a vacancy comes up, there's tens of thousands of people trying to get that spot.
Right.
Yeah,
no.
I want to ask Elvis this question, and you've been all over the media. You've been on Inside Edition, Al Jazeera, Fox, CNN. Today you were just on KTLA, definitely LA Times, just to name a few. Did I miss any?
People Magazine.
People Magazine, Enquirer. No, what has kind of the reception been like by the kind of the mainstream? What is their narrative take on you? Is it this crazy punk rocker guy? He's really trampling on the city and making it look bad, or has it been more of a compassionate response?
Mostly it's been neutral. In the beginning it was very shocking because people are like, "Wait a minute, why is this white dude with a mohawk helping out this black chick?" That's not something you see in Los Angeles. So it was a little mind blowing for some people, but. Pretty much, the rest of it, it's been fairly neutral. It just told the story,
right?
As it's gone. But I can tell you that most of the time when the interviews are done, the people usually doing the interviews genuinely care.
Mm-hmm. So they care more than the actual mayor of LA and the actual city council.
Oh yeah,
of the reporters. Wouldn't you say?
Well, of course, yeah. If people really want to know what's going on, take some time, sit down, go to Google or Yahoo or whatever you use, type in some stuff and look, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And look at timelines. Look over the last several years, count how many times the mayor or a councilman or anybody has come out and said, this is a travesty, this is horrible, we need to do something about it right now, we need hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're going to do this and that. Count it up. See how many times it's been said, about every few months they come out and say something else, but nothing is done.
But it's not just this one. This has been mayors from back as you can
it's been a long time. You know what I mean? But I'm sorry, but I have a hard time believing at all that, this city's politicians actually give a crap when they already, they have all the power, all the money. They have money that they can get right now. They just today they voted to sign a deal for $250 million to build a new soccer stadium in the next 2 years. But do you see him? Do you see him doing anything in 2 years for the homeless? No.
George Clooney is hosting a dinner. What is for Hillary? What was it, like $300,000 a plate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is ridiculous.
But,
that's a lot of money.
And then
has
the audacity to turn the other way and say, we need to get money out of politics.
But they keep coming out and saying all this stuff. They don't do anything. But when I don't believe that they give a crap when the city has over 7,500 vacant properties that they own. Vacant.
7,500.
Over 7,500, and that's just that they know of. That's a whole separate issue. They're working on figuring out how much they have, but they know of 7,500 that are vacant, collecting dust. And the beginning of this week, I put out a story that is basically the continuation of what's been going on with a couple I've been helping. Mm-hmm. Not only a veteran, but a decorated Vietnam veteran. He's been getting his ass kicked, his military pension stolen, and he suffers from seizures. So every time he's gone to the hospital, these thugs have been raping his wife repeatedly.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Now, I just rescued them and got him away from that. But, I put that story out there. And one, no one in the mainstream media is giving a crap to, play the story.
Right.
But it's out there enough, and the city follows everything that I do. Not a single person from the city has come out saying, my God, what a horrible situation, we're going to do something. Or even just, that's very tragic. We're doing our best to, some political pitch. But they haven't said a damn thing. You know what I mean? And this is a decorated American war hero. And... where the fuck is the city?
Well, I have to say, I have to say both my parents are veterans in the war, and my mom's now in a veteran nursing home, and I can see where they put their money is in the active duty. That's where they put the money. That's where they put the care. Once the veterans are not of active service anymore, they really don't care. They don't care.
They don't.
At all.
They don't. I reached out to the Marine Corps, and although local Marine Corps officers didn't respond to me. Like one of the offices that is and it's kind of my bad. I didn't realize I sent it off to the Africa region, but South America or wherever, know.
Right.
But either way, it's like, they came back. We're just like, this is horrible, and I wish we could do something, but this command, doesn't have jurisdiction,
Right.
and besides, that's a civil matter.
Right.
So I guess one of your brothers, man. Like, what?
Yeah, because I know, because they seem to always say that they're there for each other. But I don't know if it's the individuals or if it's the
core is there for the core is there for each other.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You build that bond, it's there for life.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's the administration that,
I'm surprised there's not more people that are retired that have joined your, or maybe they have joined your.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
organization.
people that that have joined up, but you know what I mean. The city, the biggest problem of that whole situation is that they had a safe place to be. Steel reinforced door with a deadbolt. It would not have happened if the city hadn't taken it away from them. Period. You know what I mean?
So these little houses that you build, how big are they, or do they just depend on one or two people?
No, they're 6 feet wide by 8 feet long. Tall enough to stand in. About 8.5 feet tall.
Probably as big as this table, I would say, almost. Just about.
Yeah, I mean, if it extended to the wall there, like.
Right.
I mean, it's a room. It's a small room. It's got. Excuse me, Red Bull.
That's okay.
It's they got 2 windows with alarms on them, carpet, smoke detector, solar panel for lights and charge your cell phone, steel reinforced door, peephole, an address, American flag.
Can you imagine? I mean, I can't imagine living in it. I mean, I can't imagine living outside. But
let me help you right now.
Right.
You have 2 options and that's it.
Oh no, I see what you're saying.
You're sleeping on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Or you're going to sleep in this tiny little room.
Right.
Which one would you rather have?
I would rather sleep in the tiny little room. But what I'm saying is, just somebody that grew up in a big house and have a nice apartment, and it's crazy to think that they are giving such a trouble to you, or giving you, or you're setting up the roadblocks where you can't build a 6x6 building. But I guess that leads me to my question: is where are you putting them?
Well, I was putting them, anywhere I could, mostly on sidewalks replacing tents.
Right. But I know how cities don't like, because they used to have homeless people right here by the AT&T building, and they just completely moved them.
And that's all they do. I mean, they they wipe them out, take their stuff. The city's being sued, multiple times constantly for it. But they we've things like homelessness or honestly, anything that doesn't affect us in our daily lives, it's almost white noise.
It's true.
We're too busy. We're too busy, working, trying to, make that paper to pay for a box that we don't, really spend time in because we're working all day just to pay for it.
Which is true. That's what I do.
That's what most people do.
Yeah.
And it's like there's even a ton of people out there that truly do care about the homeless, but it's like, I don't have time for that.
Right.
Like I care, but what can I do?
Do you think you said there's 7,500 properties that sit empty? Are they empty as in lots, or are they empty with homes on them?
All of the above.
Mm-hmm.
Houses, buildings, some are commercial, some are, residential, some are vacant lots. I mean, the city hasn't known how much land they've actually owned for over a decade.
That's sad.
Like you can see the
sad.
documents. Yeah. They're actually working on it though, finally. They've talked about working on it for years, but like they're actually working on it, and from what I hear, they may be a few months away from actually having, this database to where people can actually go into it and be like, holy crap, here.
That's ours.
Yeah, that's ours. Great. What do we do with it now?
Do you think a lot of people in certain areas, is it because of property value, they think that they don't want to place tiny homes there? Do you think it's that?
There's all kinds of stuff. Most of it is just, I mean, as humans, we fear things that we don't understand. People don't understand what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And so you take something that you don't understand and then add this stereotype of what you think you understand,
Right.
Mix it together. Hell no. That shit away from me. I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of reasons why, but people have just become so leathered, that, just just basic things like, hey, that's a human being.
Right.
Even the terms, that's a human being. That's civil rights, or it's again, it's like white noise.
I agree.
It doesn't carry much weight anymore.
No, but I think that's a lot of stereotypes of, it's not just home. I mean, it goes from if the black family moves in, the property, if the gay family properties go up, that it's like
absolutely.
There's all these stereotypes of.
That's why so many people are not accepting Section 8 vouchers,
right.
because now that it's optional, property owners are like, whoa, Section 8, I don't want those problems in my building.
Right.
I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
They don't understand that, like, most of the people that have those vouchers are, normal working class families that, their wage didn't go up, cost of living did, they lost their place. Now they're, quote, homeless, but they're, they're not on drugs. They got 2 kids. They're just trying to survive.
Right.
But the second you have homeless on your title, you're subhuman, you're garbage. And so many people are just like, look, I just want a safe place to put my head like everybody else.
Right.
I want to order pizza. I want to hang out with my friends. I want to go to work. You know what I mean? And those that have drug addictions, they want to not be on that, but they don't have the opportunities, to successfully do that.
Well, I know I saw you've raised almost your goal, I think, right? From your Kickstarter, was it $100,000?
Well, it's GoFundMe, and
GoFundMe.
I've got 2 of them. And I almost got to the goal. I've since turned that one off.
Oh, okay.
Which is weird because you could still donate on it, but anyway.
Like, where'd that money go?
But I have a new one that I started, because it's just moving forward. Now we really need land.
Right.
I mean, I still need funds to continue helping all these people every day, and then soon to build more. And but land is the big thing. And even if somebody comes through, to donate it, lend it to us, lease it, to put the rest of the plan together, it's still going to cost money.
Right.
Like, got to build. People need showers and bathrooms and laundry.
Are you is everything a legal charity? Is it all tax write-off?
Absolutely.
Ready, would you say?
Yeah. Starting Human is, I'm
Give
incorporated.
people that information too.
Yeah, I'm incorporated and registered charity with the state. I honestly, I've been having like issues understanding completely the 501c paperwork myself.
It's pretty difficult.
It's a pain in the ass, man. But everyone has told me if you don't cross one T or dot an I, they'll send it back. You got months more to wait. So I'm just like, I'm gonna really understand this before so I know what it is. But between that and 7 days a week, morning to night, being in the streets helping people, I haven't gotten that part done.
Right.
So thankfully, I've partnered with a group called the Vet Hunters. And
the Vet Hunters.
The Vet Hunters, yeah. It's called
that?
the Vet Hunters Project. It's a bunch of veterans that go out and find vets and help vets.
Nice.
Get them housing, get them a service they need, but they are a 501c. They fiscal sponsored us. So it's tied together, and yes, everything is 501c3.
Tony, I want to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's get it.
I want to torpedo to the truth here, because what Elvis is doing, let's be honest, it is a death blow to the establishment of what the individuals around this country and world can do to fix issues in their own neighborhood and cities and states and so forth. Elvis, what you're doing right now is considered dangerous to some because you're getting some major blowback from the city where, and if people follow your work, you can make a case they're actually paying subgroups to actually troll you on the internet, bully you, and threaten you in what you're doing, because it is, it's a danger to, I would say, the city council, because it makes them obsolete because they're not doing their job and where you are. And how do you justify all their salaries and all the money for their social welfare programs when none of that's getting done? So you are a danger to the establishment. Do you fear for your life?
I don't fear for my life, but I sure as hell don't want to die. I'll tell you that.
Do you feel there's some nefarious pressures on you, and you don't have to go in detail, but...
Have I gotten death threats? Yes. I've been told that I need to wear a bulletproof vest. I have to wear one now. It's retarded. I'm just a guy like everybody else. Got a handful of talent and a bunch of dreams and stuff I want to do. And I've put that on hold because there's a bunch of people that need help, you know, and it's the right thing to do. So I don't like bullies. I don't give a shit what their threats are and what people do. It's the right thing to do, and I'm going to do it. And if you take me out for it, fine. Someone else is going to step up and take my place. So,
see, Tony,
that might have been a long-winded answer, but no, I don't fear for my life. Do I want to die? No, But why can't people just, even you dirty crooks, just back up a little. It's not going to screw your game up, but you know what I mean. You can spit out a few to help these people and carry on.
Tony, what's going on here is I think this totally displays that the national clandestine services, we don't have to name them, are really scared of individuals like Elvis, because this is real change, real hope and change you can believe in, not just a soundbite or some kind of slogan on a sticker. And, it shows people that when you see the unmarked cars, when you get the calls in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., when they're not from Tony, that you are making a change, you are making a difference. But like Elvis says, fear, he has no fear. Fear is not his God. And I commend you for what you're doing and all the people supporting you. And
thanks, man.
It's you're a better man than me. You're a much better man than me.
So not like you haven't got yourself put yourself in some situation.
I put the question out to everyone listening and to you guys. I mean, have you ever lost somebody close to you?
Oh, of course, yes.
Right, most of us have. Why is it that the only time us as humans, really get it? You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, yeah, and I mean, really get it. In that moment when that person, real close to you, passes on for that short little bit of time, you get it. All the petty shit and the stuff that, we're consumed with, buy, and, doing all this stuff, and who cares about the homeless? They're, it's like for a moment that all wipes away and people just get it. It's like, why didn't I call, my best friend more? Or, why didn't I do this more often? And, damn it, like I should have been better at this. Or why did I even care about that? Like, who cares? That doesn't mean it, And it's always just in that little moment when you lose somebody, But it's like, I guess I'm trying to like pull that, that out of people right now when it's like, why does it have to be too late?
Right.
Like, the city squabbles all this stuff, it's like the big El Nino rains. We got to do something. It's like, they found a woman, dead, wrapped in her soaking wet blanket on the concrete.
Wow.
And it's like, all these hundreds of millions, all this stuff. I'm like, you couldn't have bought her a damn tent, Yeah. Now, I mean, in their defense, like, like I know the woman that she was, talking about, and super tough case, and they did offer her a few things, and, legitimately she probably turned them down. But they still could have offered and got her something on her own terms. All right, fine. You don't want anything from us, but like at least, here's a tent of your own, something. But, she didn't have to die on the street with nothing.
Well, here's my thing, and it popped in my head earlier, and here, especially in L.A., people love their pets. People think their pets are their children.
That's right.
I love pets. I grew up with pets. I love animals. But how many animal shelters are in L.A. that take in strays, feed them, shelter them, try to find them homes, but yet leave people on the streets to die?
Yep.
That's what gets me. I know even up north, somebody donated some land for a horse kind of rescue. And again, I love horses. I'm glad they did that, but I mean, come on, people. The
priorities are backwards.
You're right. It's like we'd rather see a dog or an animal, be saved, and God bless them, and we hope they are all saved. But people are on the streets. How many people are in L.A. that they know of that are homeless? They estimate
that they know of 47,000, and that it's a horrible average. It's a horrible guess, is what it is. Right. But even when they guess it, most of the people behind it will tell you, you could most likely double that number.
But see, where I'm from, 47,000 people. That is a big town, a big city where I'm from, because I grew up in Kansas. 47,000 people in a town. That would be huge.
It is flat out, by definition, a humanitarian crisis.
Right.
Now, generally, that's used for a third world country, a war zone,
right.
Super poverty, whatever it is. Not just, the homeless down the block. But if you look up the definition, it's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
People need to think of it as that, you know.
Yeah,
But I
well-
mean, like regardless, it's like it's what makes everybody else so better. You know what I mean?
Right.
That they can't stop for half a second and just help some human beings. You know.
Well, and I have to say, I'm going to just hold this up because I use it all the time. This has been such a distraction for people. I think, to me, I think this was invented to keep our minds busy.
Facebook destroyed the world.
I mean, really, I think this is because people run into people walking, driving. We don't pay attention to nothing anymore. This is it's almost like an addiction. Well, not almost like, it is an addiction that has become so. I think that's why people don't care. It's all about them, selfies.
I'd have to say halfway though, because like although I agree with you,
Right.
it's become that way though because it's used in the wrong way.
Right.
If you look at the other side
It's
of
an
it,
amazing
that
tool.
iPhone is it's a
Right.
it's a
Oh,
portal to ascension.
No, it's an amazing tool because we can also keep the accountability for the people at B, the establishment.
Well, not only that, but I mean, if it wasn't designed to, that everything you go and look at on this phone, is a bunch of crap that is
Right.
stupid and going to make you, more stupid. You know what I mean? But like you have access to, millions and millions of apps.
Right. Oh my God,
Google
millions.
like information. You know what I mean?
Right.
If people use it to actually get smarter and read and seek out the knowledge, okay. Is everybody really a drug addict and chose to be there? Like, let me go Google some stories of people that have actually worked with homeless and talked to them,
Right.
like,
Yeah. No,
it
I
could be
agree with
used in the right way that
No,
we could all be a lot smarter.
I
but
can't live without it. I have to admit, I can't live without it because that's a good thing for me. But and then I also, remember in World War II when
I was there.
Were you there? Remember
Yeah,
that?
I
Remember that
remember.
night
Yeah.
we were out drinking?
No,
And,
no,
You
that's so much I drank. I
Oh,
remember.
that's right.
Was that in Normandy?
That was
Okay.
But when Japan attacked, and remember the internment camps
Mm-hmm.
we made, I'm like, okay, we took the opportunity to take a whole culture and take them to where did they put them in a camp. I'm like, you can't even get homeless people a camp to live in with shelter and food and but you're going to take a whole culture away from their
FEMA
life.
camps are now reopened, and
Well,
a
then
lot
give
of
it-
a lot,
put 'em in
a lot
there.
of those camps are now reopened.
Really?
And the
yeah,
mil-
but
they using them?
except for that's just going to turn into
internment camps for
Hitler
di-
Hitler 2.0 if
For
you
dissidents.
stuff people in there.
Right,
you know?
right, yeah.
But from what I was reading is they want the homelessness to just get completely out of control, where people are begging to put the homeless into the FEMA camps, and people are going to applaud it. But under that guise, people are going to put the people like me, and possibly you, because you know me,
Right.
we might be in the same camps.
Well, maybe I'll get neighbors.
So and then, but that's kind of the research I've been doing is, you have FEMA camps here all over here in LA. You have Long Beach and what the Coliseum has been rumored. But yeah, it's kind of a scary thought of why they're letting the homelessness get out of control. San Francisco. LA Times reported a few days ago, I don't know if you saw it, Tony, that
I didn't.
the cost of living in San Francisco is so out of control that young people can't afford it now. People that have only been there for 5 years are now leaving.
I believe it.
And the homelessness
believe
is
it.
so out of control in Frisco. People are leaving. It's just California, people are fleeing this I almost said country, but it feels like a country.
Well,
If we're so
could
out
be.
of touch with like the rest of the country, people are fleeing California, and the homelessness is just getting out of control. You go to Fresno, you see tent cities, the methamphetamine's out of control. Our prisons are stacked. You sneeze the wrong way here in LA, you get a felony. You can't get a job again. They want to demonize people with drug addictions instead of helping them. We live in
Sorry about that.
we live in a Orwellian society now, and 1984 is now reality of today.
so I'm going to ask you, Elvis.
Just before we go off on that,
Go.
I just want to attempt. I don't know if this will pick up. Right?
Oh,
I wanted
I can
just
turn your mic up.
I just want to attempt to to play the audio of the last part of this clip that I put out. When it's just because it's totally the raw. It's one of the guys that had one of the tiny houses, and when I was forced to take him away,
right.
It's his reaction. But it really tells you, like, the raw emotions of these midnight monsters, that are all drug addicts that chose to be there, But
what's the guy's name? Do you know?
Yeah, he goes by Green Eyes.
Green Eyes.
Yeah.
So whenever you're ready, we'll go ahead and take a listen.
Fuck out here and die on the street because they don't have no shelter, no food. It's people that come by that help us with food, clothing, and shit. The fucking government on where the fuck is running this shit. They don't give a fuck, man. They'd rather lock us up in jail or some shit.
Because they're making money out of it. They're lining their
But
pockets.
we're not no fucking commodity, man. We're human beings. We're human, Elvis.
I know, buddy. I know.
Wow. Talk about from the heart.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I guess that's all
I
you
can't even
have, though.
hear it without getting emotional, because
Well, if you don't get emotional, there's something wrong. It's probably part of the problem.
It is part of the problem. But the funny thing is, well, it's not funny.
No.
But in common social language, it's funny that this guy, people would look at him like the rest, a drug addict, bum, everyone that homeless that used to get away from me, no. But Green Eyes, Pete used to be my neighbor, literally. When I started this a year ago and had built Smokey's house, he knew Smokey. He lived down the street, and started helping me build the houses. And then, months went by, and then I hadn't seen him in a while. And then I randomly ran into him, when I was driving around with one of the houses. I was looking for somebody the house was supposed to go to. And, and he calls out to me, and I was just like, dude, where have you been? What the hell? And he was just, man, it's just going through some tough times, and his mother passed away, and, just fell into deep depression, and then, had a falling out with, his daughter, and, ended up on the street, just trying to deal with it.
Right. Yeah, that's, I can see, I can see why you get emotional, but I can see why some people can't be involved, and it's sad. And I'm going to tell you that some people just can't handle that much emotion. They want to just detach from it, and not even be a part of it, because it affects them too much.
Yeah, I mean,
they always want to focus on the light, and not the. I know those people.
Right,
it's sickening. They don't want to understand how we got here and the problem. They just want to focus on the future,
right?
And
it's going to
get flowers
better,
and butterflies.
And unfortunately, people, this is
LA.
This is LA, and things don't always get better. And for some of these people,
Yeah,
they're going to live and die on the street.
But you know what? Like, it doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't.
You know what I mean? And this is
not at
Los
all.
Angeles. I mean, this is Hollywood. You know, we have got Hollywood, Los Angeles. We're the drive behind inspiration across the entire world. You know.
Right.
You got music and movies that come out of here. People emulate the actors that they see. You know what I mean? Like, they want to be Johnny Depp. They want to be this character, that, you know. But I mean, globally, you know, even terrorists somewhere, you know what I mean? Sit around bullshitting, you know, like playing James Dean, you know, whatever it is, like, you know. But we influence the world in, you know, a million ways. And we have the smartest, the most brilliant and talented, imaginative people here. We should be straight up number one. We should be leading the world in how you do it. You know what I mean?
We're number one, so we should.
Right?
We should have the world's biggest farmers market in downtown LA and put these people back to work, show them how to grow food, make hemp manufacturing, rebuild the railroads, get a rail train system. I mean, to me, it took me 5 minutes to think of that.
Yeah, there's a million ways. I mean, one of the biggest things people complain about is, the collection of junk around the homeless. Like, got news for you. It ain't their garbage.
But
It's the ones
yeah.
complaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the good citizens. You have to have a job and money to consume, to buy stuff, and then, get tired of it and then be lazy, not take it to the dump and throw it on the curb.
And just like the cancer industrial complex, the homeless industrial complex needs homeless people in big amounts of it for the people at the top to continue to make money, continue to make their six-figure salary, continue to say, we need more millions for the social welfare programs. And
if that's the case, they should have some damn respect then, because without them, you wouldn't have it. So you could throw them an extra bone.
Exactly. And it's courageous innovators like Elvis that are saying, government can help. They can help by getting the hell out of the way and letting the free people of this country handle our own problems, because we do it a lot better than you. Right. So, you know what I mean?
So too much red tape. What's the highest ranking person that you've actually got to talk to, like one-on-one?
Like with the city?
With the city. Or would they even see you? No.
They don't talk to me. They don't. I've talked to a few councilmen in person, but that's about it. Not once from day one till now has the mayor ever answered an email, called me, spoke with me directly. I've talked to both of his homelessness policy directors.
He has homeless policy directors?
Yeah.
What is their take?
Czars.
What I was going to say.
The homeless czar.
Well, I heard in that tape that with Green Eyes.
Yeah.
They talking about lining the pocket. How are they making money from homelessness?
Oh, in multiple ways. Well, think about it. As long as there are people there to see, suffering.
Right.
Oh my God! Look at those people. We need to help those people. This is wrong. We cannot allow people to sit here, and we've failed with. We need to do something right away. We need millions of dollars to do that.
So they're raising the millions of dollars through either taxes, through organizations, or whatever, and then
government grants, taxes. There's $100 million that they've been taking from everyone's taxes for over a decade. It's like been long forgotten, and even just like at the end of last year when they came out and said we're going to spend $100 million, that's a second $100 million. Wow. 80% of the first $100 million goes to LAPD. Now, in the context, that's wrong. That's messed up.
Right.
However, I understand, because even now, LAPD still doesn't have enough money to do their job properly. So I get it. But you got to get the money from somewhere else, But they do it in that way. They criminalize it. They ticket them. They arrest them, Several people I'm helping have gotten, $400. They keep getting $400 tickets for their tent covering too much of the sidewalk. Now, when you go, if you can get to court, you get there, it's like you got three options. Pay the fine. Okay, I can't get work. I can't even use a bathroom, so no, I can't pay that fine. Okay, well, you can either do community service at a place we designate, or you can go to jail. And then when you go to jail, they pimp you out anyway, 16, 17, whatever it is, bucks an hour, but you only earn $2 an hour to pay that fine off.
Oh, wow.
Who do you think's keeping the difference?
I get it.
Someone is.
I get it.
I mean,
yeah,
I get it. There's many ways that that they make money on it, and let's just say for argument's sake that they're not dirty and corrupt. They're not actually lining their pockets. They're taking all that money that they get for the homeless, and they're just really using it to keep the city afloat, right?
Which for a while there, I'm sure they were, but I don't.
Well, right. I mean, and that would, it's like, okay, well, you need money that bad. I get it. But you got to get it from somewhere else.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't take it from...
Look at the meter maids in the city. In fact, you've got about 10 minutes to go put a quarter in there before the lady at the front said they're going to tow your car.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look at what we've become, Tony. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so desperate for money, and they're pissing on these people like they're pigeons. And, it's just, we need to bring awareness, compassion, and solutions to this epidemic. In America.
Well, we have about 5 minutes left, and so in that 5 minutes, is there something that you can suggest to people? Because people all over the world that listen to our show, not just here in Los Angeles, but how can people get involved in their own cities, maybe start their own tiny homes, houses in their city? How can they get involved with you?
Shave a mohawk, stand up, and raise hell. No, I'm just.
There you go, Mama.
There's multiple ways. I mean, the biggest first step is just standing up. I mean, you know, write a news company, write your local news, you know, write the mayor, the governor, you know, the president, whoever it is, a congressman, councilman, you know, but like be consistent, you know, keep standing up and bind with other people saying, hey, you know, this is wrong and we demand change. You know what I mean? Like, I know it doesn't work that way anymore, but you know, it's supposed to be for the people, by the people, you know, and government is supposed to do what, you know, the people need. And that is everybody, though, you know, the rich and the poor at the bottom, you know, like it is a privilege to hold a government office. Right. And I know politicians, if there's any listening right now, are laughing their butts off, you know,
I'm sure they are.
But you know, that it's supposed to be a privilege, you know, and if you can't do the job that you're supposed to do for everybody, then you should be removed or, you know, or step down. Right. But there's many ways, you know, that people can help. If it's to help me and what I'm doing here, they can go to my website, mythpla.org. It's mythpla.org, and please make a donation. You know, if as soon as I get a place to, you know, continue working again, like I will put a call out and have, you know, volunteers. I mean, last time I did, I had volunteers from the East Coast come out. Wow. You know, so that's great. I am all about people, you know, physically coming and helping if that's all they can, you know, do. They can, you know, send stuff to people, you know, if they need. But if it's in their own cities, you know, they can, you know, kind of do the same process. But just, you know, open your minds a bit because, you know, it's if we don't give the chances and opportunities for people to do anything else, nothing's going to change. No. You know? No. And people do want change. There's a big difference between wanting to be homeless and choosing some shit option that's been handed to them. No. I mean, flat out, you know?
You're right. You're right. And how many homes have you built?
37.
And
how almost done with 38.
But how many homes have been removed or torn down?
11. I think 11.
Wow. So I mean, there's still some there, but that's really if you think about 37. That's a great start. But when you have 47,000 people out there that are still on the street, people need to get involved. I mean, Elvis and Dean, because you've been a part of this for a while too.
Well, I mean, I just been trying to help Elvis and bringing attention to it, and you know, we did a rally at the steps of City Hall a few weeks back, and to my amazement. Because we had such an impact that the city council decided to pull the rug from underneath us. And
I like to call it pre-retaliation.
And hold a press conference
before ours.
About 60 minutes right before we did to steal all the media as attention and everything. And it was just incredible. But that didn't stop us because we had a little over 100 people, although LA Times said we only had, 70 or something. But, they were there for like a minute and then left. And it was midday Friday. And who wants to go to that section of City Hall? There's no parking. It's incredibly difficult. So I predicted we would have that much. And a lot of people came, and we made a big difference. We made some news on LA Times, and Elvis gave a speech. Certainly I did in my fashion and form. We had people like Adam Kokesh and some other great people come out from Arizona and all the other states. So it was great, and we're going to do another one, I predict, in the next few months.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of cool things in the works, and just in case I didn't squeeze it in earlier, like
squeeze all you can.
The tiny houses, is not a permanent solution. It's meant to be a bridge between the gutter and more permanent housing or whatever's the next step is. It's just science. People need a solid night's rest, or your brain doesn't work right. And if you want to solve homelessness, you got to start with that. And look people in the eye. They're not animals. You know what I mean?
No,
they got feelings and dreams and hopes, and it's really not hard to get people self-motivated. But give them their dignity back.
I remember watching. I think it was in London that it was a reality show, and they took like some of the wealthy people, and they were going to put them on the street for a week. And some of these people, very millionaires, billionaires, whatever, and they're like, oh, it's going to be a piece of cake within 2 days. I mean, 2 days,
tapped out
because they couldn't get any money from anybody except for begging or asking. They had to sleep on the street, and I mean, within 2 days, people were like cranky and fighting and just like, I can't do this. I mean, it's like, I'm thinking every damn day for years. Some of the people have been out there for years. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
You need to.
You know, I mean, most people think that everybody out there has mental issues. Like they do, not the kind
lack of sleep and just
Right.
fear and everything else.
Yeah, you know, I mean, but I mean, honestly, what's more mental? Like, all the abuse of, you know, how, you know, that the homeless have to endure every day, or society inflicting that upon them.
Right.
I think we're more mental than they are.
Oh God, I know I am.
You know, it's yeah, you know, it's you know,
Wow. Well, I admire you. I definitely am going to donate, and hopefully, if you guys ever have another rally, and I'm sure you will, I'd love to be a part of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you,
but-
and it's not one that, you know, that I'm headlining, but the 14th there is a big march for homeless.
In May 14th?
Yep, May 14th starts at Hollywood and Vine. It's
Oh, wow, just right down the
I
street.
believe it's Midnight Mission, I think, is putting
That's
it
great.
putting it on.
Yeah.
They do it every year, but I mean, it's, you know, it's a big deal, and anybody that's even remotely close that can get here, please come down. It's at 4:00. You know,
Definitely will
it's,
do that. Yeah.
You know,
That's
it's a
just
worthy
right down
cause.
the street
you
for
know?
me, so that's easy.
It's all a strength in numbers. You know,
Yeah.
if people don't get up and come together, then, you know, things don't change. So
That's for sure. And we so appreciate Elvis Summers.
Summers, thank you.
Go to, is it mythpla.org.
Correct.
And donate. You know, check out his organization. There's some, you know, great information there. It looks like. Do you have other, like, stories from some of your people that some of the homeless people on the street? Do you have any stories that
I have a lot of stories. There's a lot of videos out there.
check them out?
You know, I still kind of do everything with the organization myself, so that's why it's morning to night, 7 days a week.
Right.
I update the websites as much as possible to find those stories. There's, you know, if are people seeing that right there?
No, but
Oh,
I
okay.
can show it. But just
Yeah,
explain it. real
It's
quick.
just there's, you know, all the links to social media are
Right.
there. So I mean, especially Facebook's, you know,
Right.
but Facebook and YouTube, you can go and see the videos and read all my posts. You can see that everything that I'm doing all day, but you can definitely find people's stories there.
Well, Elvis, thank you so much. This is crazy. I just can't believe in 2016 we're still doing this. But I mean, honestly, it's not unbelievable just because we know how the political system from national,
Yeah,
state,
but
and
you know,
local. But we got to do what
it
we
is
got to do.
it is kind of unbelievable. I mean, you know, if you know, there's no good future for the human race carrying on the way we do and the way we treat
Right.
people that are at the bottom. You know, we need to change if we want to survive.
Well, I'd hope so. We'd hope people think that way.
They need to start.
All right, well, we're starting with Elvis. We're gonna make a difference. Go, please donate. Elvis Summers, thank you so much. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and don't go anywhere. We have more for you guys. Dean, Ryan, and I will be back. Go to truthbetoldwebtv.com. Check out all of our upcoming guests. You can watch our video, this in case you tuned in halfway through. Go to YouTube. Type in Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie. That way you can see all of our videos, and check us out on iHeartRadio. Yes, right here on Truth Be Told. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.